This empty chair represents the addict who died today, not knowing recovery was possible.
Hi there, and welcome to another episode of The Empty Chair, Exposing Addiction. I'm Phil Leahy, and my daughter Colleen, who is usually here with me, won't be able to make it tonight, but I think we'll be able to plow along without her anyway. Again, I always like to remind you that you can catch up on all the episodes we've had if you go to YouTube and search The Empty Chair Show. And I think there'll be something there for everybody. I'm pretty excited tonight. Over the last few months, the city of Haverhill has involved me in a lot of what they've been doing for substance abuse. And I'm very excited that they've taken such an active role in it. And I have some people from Haverhill and from Billerica who have been involved in this for a long time, and I really wanted to give them some recognition for what they've done. So I'm going to introduce their names. I'm going to tell you the websites that they're on, and we're going to talk a little about what they're doing and why they do it. So this is Christina, and this is Bill.
Hello.
And I thank you both for coming. Christina, breathe.
Relax.
Okay, Christina, why don't you tell us, I know that you're from Haverhill.
Yes, born and
you
raised.
started a Facebook page called Haverhill Against Heroin?
Haverhill Against Heroin.
Okay, why don't you tell us how that started and why you started it?
Haverhill Against Heroin started up late November of last year. I battled addiction myself, but silently. It actually started, I lost a lot of people last year, and one in particular actually stood out. And after the person's passing, I'll be honest, I slumped into a very deep depression. I did not know what to do with myself. I was in a very deep daze. And I woke up one morning and I was like, I have to do something. So around 8:23 in the morning, Haverhill Against Heroin was started, and not even an hour later, there was 1,000 people on it.
Now, who's the friend that you lost?
I'd rather not give out his name because of a situation.
Okay. No, that's fine.
So, but we went through high school together. We used to, I'll be honest, smoke weed together back in the day. His sister's been a big part of my life since I was 9. She's like my aunt, and she's my sister's best friend. So, yeah.
So I do know you started the page, and I do know it took off like crazy, and it did coincide with Haverhill being one of the leading communities, unfortunately, in the heroin overdose.
Yes.
So obviously you attracted, unfortunately, whenever we work in this field, we get most of our notoriety when things bad happen. Like in Haverhill, things bad happened that were bad, people started to get involved. So you did start your page. I know you and I have sat on at least one forum together in Haverhill. And Haverhill is, I'm very pleased to say Haverhill has taken a very, taken a good approach and trying to be active in that role. So I'm thrilled for that, and I know that they're thrilled to have you as a part of it.
Thank you.
Bill.
How are you?
Okay, you also have something you started how long ago?
This past year I started it. Same
Okay,
thing.
and the name of that is?
Heroin is killing my town.
And that is also on Facebook?
Facebook, yes.
Okay, and you started this for what reason? Because we talked before, and you're not a recovering addict.
I'm not in the recovery program at all. I'm a person that has a big heart, and I'm sick of watching people die around me. I watched my best friend die, and I my daughter buried her boyfriend this past year. And once that happened, I went full bore. I said, it's time. It's time to speak up. Everyone's afraid to speak up. We need awareness. We need a lot of things. So I started the page. It laid low for a little while. And as you know, the people are passing away left and right daily, and it's just getting out of control.
Yep.
And it seems like there's not enough awareness. It seems like there's not enough programs and support. So my page kind of went crazy. We're reaching 250,000 people a week.
Wow.
It's not just it was built for Massachusetts, but it's out of control. I mean, we're talking to people in Ohio. We're talking to people in Ireland.
Yeah.
It's a worldwide problem.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that us together can make this state a poster child to stand up and fight an epidemic. And it's really working.
Amen.
It's working.
All right, so now how did you two guys hook up?
Actually, okay, one day I was having a problem in Haverhill Against Heroin. I mean, I don't like to point out people, but there's also a closed group in Haverhill, and I was having an issue. I was like, where do I go from here? I'm like, I'm not giving up this fight for anybody. I'm like, my heart's in it. I'm in this fight for the right reasons. I mean, I'm a mother of two that takes care of her own mother. I'm like, and all of my extra time is dedicated to this epidemic and helping people. And I like, one day something happened. I'm like, okay, there's a number at the top of this page. And I scoped out Billy's page, and I'm like, because I make sure the people that I'm going to call for help are the right people that I'm going to call. And well, December I made that phone call, and Billy picked up the phone, and
She needed a little backbone.
yep, and he's been my right hand man ever since, and I thank God for that.
In this epidemic, as you know, we were just discussing it. We're not in it to be a hero. We're not in it for a pat on the back. We're in it because we need to be in it. We need to save lives and raise awareness. There are people in this world that are jealous. There's haters for the good things we do.
Or
And
egotistical.
yeah, they can be in any way, shape, or form. I don't deal with that drama crap.
Okay.
Nope.
I'm in it to save the world. That's it.
Yeah.
So she was going through some tough times with some people. I said, look, let's just cut this cord and let's worry about doing right, building awareness, doing the right thing, and put them people behind you. But some people don't let go that easy.
No, you want to know something, and you're so right. And I mean, I know I've been involved in this for, I don't know, maybe 20 years now.
Yep.
And what I did, I know when I used to deal with some people who really,
Didn't like the way you do things or approach things.
they'd had that stigma to it.
Yeah.
You know, and I used to get angry in the beginning. I've learned not to get angry anymore
can't.
because I've also learned that some people you are never going to change.
You never-
So obviously,
There's
you
people out
guys-
there that do it to get a rise out of you, to feel
Yeah.
important. But I look at it this way. I reach 250,000 people a week. We're saving hundreds of lives. Hundreds. 5% of that number, 5 people a year running their mouths or being vindictive or anything, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
My numbers show, her numbers show, your numbers show. We don't need to worry about them. If we start worrying about them and stoop to their level, what's it doing? It's killing our time that we need to concentrate on saving this world and killing this epidemic.
Yeah.
So we
And,
turn it around and we use it as our motivation instead of bringing us down
That's
to where
right.
they
No,
were.
and I obviously, you know,
Yep.
like obviously I agree. Every now and then I have to play the devil's advocate to get a rise out of you guys anyway. But so I know what your now the name of yours.
Heroin is killing my town.
Okay, and they're gonna put
That's
this
on Facebook, yes.
Yeah, and they're gonna put this
Yep.
underneath on the thing, and yours is
Haverhill Against Heroin.
okay. And if you know, I'll tell you, if you go to these pages on Facebook and numerous other websites, you're gonna find that we're just a small group of a large number of people who are starting to come out of the shadows.
Coming together, building a
Yep.
team.
Yeah. All right, so now I know what you've done. What do you guys see? What do you see that you may accomplish in the future? I mean, what are some of your goals? Let's try that.
Right now, I'm working on building a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
One of my goals is to get funding and build halfway safe homes for people that are just go into a 5-day program, they're dumped on the street and kicked to the curb.
Exactly.
Good luck. And
Yeah,
they
we all-
die.
Yeah, we
They
all
die
know that.
quick.
We all know that detoxes. Yeah, they have the name Spin Dry. You go in, you
Spin dry, and that's
yeah.
how a lot of people are passing away because of it. You go in
Yeah.
5 days, they go back and use, and then boom,
Exactly.
done, overdose.
Yeah.
We need safe homes. We need awareness. My biggest goal is to take this epidemic and cut it in half right now, and make it disappear in the long term. It's been around forever.
It has been.
But if we raise awareness and start way back when they are born and they get into middle school and start educating, we need to educate EMTs, we need to educate firemen, we need to educate everybody in every household. We need to get in the school systems. We can do that. There's a lot of red tape, but it's not just educate. Awareness is key.
And you're right, and I'm glad you brought that up about involving everybody.
Everybody.
The community group. Now I got to give a little pitch to my group.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
But the Merrimack Valley Prevention and Substance Use Project.
Yes.
We do have a community group, and it is involved public safety.
Yep.
We have Methuen Police who are so involved.
Yep.
We have school department who are looking to make substance abuse part of their curriculum.
It should be.
Okay? And so there are a lot of things, and that's why another thing I was glad to have you guys come down so I can invite you and draft you into
Yep.
our community
absolutely.
group. Anyway, seeing we're all in the Merrimack Valley. Now, not too long ago, I think this week or last week, they did a nice story about you in the Lawrence Tribune.
Yeah.
The Eagle Tribune, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that
And
Haverhill or
I know
Lawrence?
sometimes that's a little embarrassing, but you want to know something?
It is.
I know Colleen and I have had a couple of stories about it, and it is a little but it does get
It's awareness.
the awareness out.
Yeah,
So-
I'm not a big fan of like being in papers or
Yeah.
or anything. But since that article's posted, the page has its own cell phone and it's been going on off nonstop. I actually had to put it on vibrate for this.
Well, that's good,
But
though.
it's been going nonstop. And there's actually one family that called that had 3 addicts in the family. The mother actually called, and I personally normally bring people to detoxes, but in one day I got, in calling around for beds, I got those 3 family members, and it actually happened today, into detox.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So, I mean, awareness is key. I'm not like the whole fame thing and all of that, but like the way that it drawed people in and so many people are calling and venting and asking for help, it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
It really is.
But again, in the paper, it did mention, and again, don't forget, these people don't get paid for this kind of
Oh,
stuff.
no, we
exactly.
do
All right?
not.
She's been bringing, and I know my daughter has done the same thing to me, same thing. They bring people to detoxes. And it's not easy to find one, by the way.
Oh,
You
no.
know, to
Consume your
find
whole-
a bed that's open
You
is
can consume
no
your whole
joke.
day to find one bed
Yes.
right now. That's
So,
a
I
big
mean,
problem.
I want you to know that people like Billy, people like Christina, people like my daughter Colleen, I don't do the driving thing, I'm too old for that stuff. But there's a lot of people out there, Jen Burns,
Yes.
they bring people to detoxes, they call, because we all know when an addict
Needs
says,
help.
I'm ready to go,
You got to bring them.
yeah,
You have to
because
drop
tomorrow they're
everything
not
and
going to
go.
feel that way.
They try to pull it tomorrow. And we're
Yeah.
like, no, now.
Yeah.
And I go with my dad saying, do not put off what you can do today for tomorrow because tomorrow might never come. And then I
Exactly.
use that saying, and then they snap right out of it. They're like, you're right. And then they're like, let's go.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I want. I want people to realize that there's a lot of people out there like you guys who do this stuff
From the
because it's a passion you have. Now I'd like to talk. We talked a little bit about the addicts. We talked a lot about the addicts. Now I deal mostly with families. I run a support group for the families called the Circle of Hope. Got to give a little plug in, you know.
Yep.
Now you kind of deal because you're not an addict.
Right.
So you kind of know what it's like being on the non-addict side. You've had the pain of having a close friend.
Pass away.
Yeah, so tell me, in the beginning, obviously you didn't know a whole lot. I know when I first started with my daughter, I knew nothing, and I did all the wrong things and made all the mistakes. How did you kind of progress to where you are now?
I learned from hitting the streets. I learned real time. I didn't learn from books. I didn't learn from using. I learned real time. I would go to an addict and ask every addict the same question. When did you start using? How much were you doing? Who got you into it? Why? do you have underlying issues in your life that were a problem? Because most of this stuff becomes dual diagnosis. If you notice
Yeah,
that,
there's a lot of that, yeah.
most of this is all dual diagnosis. Either that, or once in a while you get, oh, I broke my leg in playing hockey. I was an all-star, and now I'm a full-blown addict, and my life's ruined because of
Yeah.
it. But all my statistics and all my education comes from working the streets and dealing with people.
Right. Well, I've also noticed, and I'm sure you both kind of agree with this, most addicts start experimenting when, and actually all the addicts I've had on here, they start when they're 12, 13, 14 years old. Be it experimenting with pot or booze, or now the new gateway drug, the parents' medicine cabinet.
Painkillers.
Right. So, I mean, and I hear people saying, well, it was their choice. I hate that, but
Yeah.
you hear it a lot. Tell me something. Do you think a 12, 13, 14-year-old actually makes a choice or just a bad mistake?
A bad
Bad
mistake.
mistake.
They want to be cool like everybody else. It's called peer pressure.
Exactly.
Your choice is yes once first. I call it one shot, one kill.
Yeah.
When it comes with the heroin, you know people smoke weed. You know people drink. When it comes to heroin, I can almost guarantee you that 90% of the people I've ever dealt with used it once and they are wiped out.
Oh, absolutely.
I call it one shot, one kill.
kill.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. It's sad. Very powerful drug. People
Oh.
need to realize that when they're dealing with someone stealing from them and robbing their grandparents and stealing their parents' cars and emptying out their accounts, and people don't understand. You're dealing directly with heroin. You're not dealing with that good person.
Right.
And the one word I hate, and I'm sure that you can both agree, is calling someone a junkie.
Oh,
Oh my God.
I
So
never
many people
realized
use that, and it's like,
That word junkie.
oh, you know,
it drives me crazy.
I can remember before I knew anything. I called when my daughter was living with us, and she was a heroin addict, and I used that one word junkie
Yep.
to her. I felt bad, and as high as she was, I think she felt bad. But you're right.
It was a slang word that everyone like kind of made it into a,
Well, you know, it's almost like using the N word.
yes, the same thing. It's a slang
Exactly.
word.
It is.
It's a slang word. But when people come up to me and they start running their mouths, and I'm helping somebody, and then people say, why the hell are you helping that junkie? I said, hold on and back up. Let's have a discussion here. I said, you know that junkie, quote unquote. How was that person 5 years ago before they started using drugs?
Yeah.
The nicest person in the world, hardest worker, will give you the shirt off their back, the nicest person in the world. So what makes them a junkie? How about you're talking to a drug and not your friend that you just lost?
Yeah.
How about you reach out and help them and stop running your fat mouth and calling them something that they're really not?
Right.
You need to understand addiction before you run your fat trap.
Yeah, see, that's it. See, I used
I
to
call them out.
I used to get as mad as you did.
Oh,
don't
man, I
get
call
that
'em
mad
right
anymore.
out.
I don't get that mad anymore.
Gloves on.
Yeah, but you're right,
Always.
and
It's true.
and I know what I have learned begrudgingly over the years is there are some people that are not going to change no
I know.
matter what.
It's true. You can
and-
lead a horse to water.
Yeah.
But you
And
I-
can't make them drink.
No.
Anytime someone reaches out for me for help, I say, look, I know what you want, I know what you need. It's what they want and what they need. You're not going to force them. You can guide them the right way.
Right.
You can work your hardest, but they need to want it. So we
Yeah.
need to convince them that, look, we can't watch you die anymore.
Yeah.
You need to do something. And they usually work with you, but it's very hard. I mean, this addiction, I think this heroin is the worst drug in the world, in the country.
Yeah, I'd
It's so
have to,
controlling.
I'd have to agree. I mean, I know there are
Yeah.
others that are addicted to various other drugs that are just as deadly. But yeah, heroin right now is a flavor of the month.
And people don't understand how deathly sick an addict gets when they don't have it.
Oh, yeah,
And an
yeah.
addict is so afraid of going into a detox because they can't move and they're going to the bathroom on themselves. They're throwing up, sweating. The pain that they go through to detox to get clean is right at the top of their mind.
Okay, let me tell you something. All right, just to get away from that, what does your page do?
What does my page do?
Yeah.
My
What
page.
is it? If I was to go to your page, what would it say?
What would it say? People's real life stories. People sharing their stories about what's going on with their son, their husband, their brother, their sister, their cousin. They reach out to us. They reach out to us for resources. My page is loaded with all kinds of resources to get you help in any way, shape, or
Good,
form.
good.
We have rules, regulations. We have two attorneys that back my page that help us. I mean, it's a legit tight page. I have 8 administrators because it got out of control and I can't handle it. When you go to my page, you can find anything from Narcan training to support groups. So a lot of the people that come to my page and a lot of the stuff that we get are actually addicts that are clean now. Thank us for their page. It's very informative. People will reach out to me. My son is addicted. He's 16 years old. He's using. He lives with his father that's an alcoholic. What do I do?
Yeah.
So we give him what we think is right. Or we ask him if we can post it and get everybody in the world that's been going through the situation to give them their advice, which is, I think, the best advice. Because if you went through it, she went through it, and I went through it, we say, well, what I did was I put him into a rehab program. We took him out. We got him into an AFA program. We did this and that, or we took him away from his friends. A lot of people don't understand it. A simple cell phone.
So basically, to make a long story short, your page is full of resources.
Resources and help and support.
Wonderful. Now you, Haverhill Against Heroin, similar?
A lot similar. Even at the on the cover photo to the page, it has the 24-hour helpline. Call any hour of the night. Detox rides, hospital rides, anything that they need. You can find stories of people that actually will private message me because of anonymity, like they don't want to be put out there, and that I've helped. You'll find some of their stories on there, uplifting quotes, stuff to, like, you know, sometimes you need that thing to, like, to get you through the day. Agencies like TCA and the Narcan, it's TCA every Tuesday and Thursday. Steve does it. A lot of education and awareness and whatnot, and yeah.
Well, yeah, and you know, because 10, 15, 20 years ago, there was nothing.
Nothing.
You know, I mean, I can when Colleen first started using, when I first got introduced to it, when I first made the 200 mistakes that you can make.
Yeah.
This stuff wasn't out there, and I've really noticed. I mean, I've been working on this for quite a few years, but I've really noticed the huge change really over the last 2 years. I don't know if it's because, well, you probably got, is it because of the increase in overdoses that people are all of a sudden realize it's more concerned, realize that it is a major problem, realize that maybe it's just not some guy walking down the street with a trash bag, that it can happen to anybody?
It's come out of the woodwork bad, and I think if we look back in the past couple of years of what's gone on in this world, we've turned into, a lot of these doctors' offices down south have turned into pill mills. Oxycontin, oxycodone, whatever you want to call these painkillers, became a huge thing. And they overwhelmed us with it. It was the biggest up-and-coming money-making drug, getting everyone high out of their minds. And the repercussions of that is that they can't afford that drug no more.
Right.
Everyone's cracking down. The feds are closing down the pill mills, so now we're stuck. What do? It's an opiate. They go right to heroin. It's half the money, and now heroin's out of control. I think it all stemmed from the past few years of the boosting pills, and the pills fall off, and no one has any money anymore, so they go to the cheaper drug.
Okay, so basically the bigger gateway drug now, as opposed to pot and booze, is the pills.
Oh, yeah, painkillers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they all feel not a worry in the world, not a care in the world. They get this euphoric high, and they just wander around careless.
Well, you know, it's funny. You mentioned something before about, you know, use heroin once and you're off to the races.
Yep.
I can remember just a couple of, you know, now my daughter's been clean for 6.5 years or so.
Yep.
But I remember she mentioned once, it might have been on one of our shows, that because she was always high on something anyway, be it pills, be it pot, be it booze, be it coke. One time, one of her friends put down a line in front of
Right
her
on
and
the
said,
table.
give it a try.
Yeah.
That was the first time she tried heroin.
Right.
And you're right.
Bum. One
That
and
was
done.
it.
Done.
That was
And the
it.
reason why there's so much like concern around like the heroin epidemic now is because the numbers are growing, and the people, most people, I want to give people credit. Most people are realizing that it doesn't stigmatize, it doesn't discriminate on who it affects.
No.
I mean, it's in everywhere. The suburbs, it's in the, you know, even upper class people, and it's knocking
Always.
it's knocking on their back door now, and people
Okay.
are just like
You
are
wanna-
more concerned because of numbers.
I have kind of a hypothetical question to ask both of you. I don't know how much time we have, so, okay. Heroin stories are in the paper almost every day now.
Yes.
Yes.
Either they're in the paper about a bust or someone overdosing or in the obituaries or what. And you're going to have a lot of people, and I've heard them, and they're going to say, why do people do this? They know what it's like. Why did they do heroin?
Well, if they've already are on heroin, and why do they continue doing heroin? Heroin's not an easy habit to just, okay, I seen this person die, okay, I'm done with it.
When
It's a very
people-
hard addiction to kick. I mean, I personally have never done heroin. I've had a cocaine habit for like 6 months, on a 6 months binge. And someone did offer me heroin once, and I had cancer then, and I was doing chemo, and my best friend that's now deceased said, if you think you're sick now between, your chemo and you using coke every now and then, well, coke a lot, you're going to be even more sick if you can't keep up with this habit. So I didn't take that shot. And yeah, so it's
All right,
not
so
easy.
She gave me the 2-minute warning. I want you guys to each give me a closing statement about your page and what you're looking for. Whatever you want to, give me each a minute what you want to say to finish off.
What I want to finish off is we all need to raise awareness. We all need to step it up. We need to start with these kids in the lower grade school. From middle school is where we need a plan of attack. From middle school on is where it changes the world. If we get them in middle school, we're doing all right. I want my page to reach probably 100,000 people by the end of this year, and I know it will. I want a resource. I want to educate as many people as I can. People reaching out to me every day. I want to build a nonprofit. We need to all work together in pages, in groups, in the communities. I'm sick and tired of the state houses and people not doing anything in the offices. I'm done with red tape. I'm going after everybody. I want to make a difference.
Good.
If we work together hard, we'll get it done. We'll win the war. You got to work.
I agree with everything that he just said.
So you're gonna say
I'm
ditto?
in it. I'm in
Yeah,
it for the.
ditto.
I'm
Say ditto.
ditto. I'm in it for the long run.
Yep.
Like this is
Great.
it.
We gotta work
And
together.
we have 1 minute left. Can I just say something real quick?
Absolutely.
This is my uncle. Well, my cousin James Mazzoni. He passed away May of 2003. He had a heavy coke addiction. That coke was his drug of choice. The last year of life, he was tired of cocaine keeping him up at night, so he used heroin as his downer, and inevitably,
Cost him
coke and heroin made him go to sleep in May of 2013.
And I wanna-
Want to say something
Yeah, I
real quick
wanna-
about Jason, please?
Why I'm here, and Jason's my angel, and Jason makes sure that I get this done.
Amen.
We save lives with these people on this table. They're not just people we lost. They're going to live for the rest of our lives, and they're going to look over us and protect us. I lost a real good friend this past year, and he's actually my drive to save many lives. We save hundreds of lives like it's nothing, and I want to bless him and thank him for being who he is, because he woke me up, and he's going to make me an unstoppable army.
And I would like to thank both of you for coming down. I do appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
I do hope people will check out your page. I'm
Thank
sure
you
they
very
will.
much.
Thank you.
I wish you continued success, because your success is also my success.
We will. We'll be working
And
together.
we look forward to
Definitely.
having you as members of the Merrimack Valley Prevention and Substance Abuse Project.
All right.
At
I'm on
that,
it.
again, I'd like to thank Christina. I'd like to thank Billy. Check their pages out, and we'll see you next month on The Empty Chair. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.